Hello all, welcome to Tech Visas. In this video, we will talk about cap theorem. Cap theorem is basically a concept in computer science which defines the trade-off between the consistency, availability, and partition tolerance when you are dealing with systems which are distributed. So these three properties are really critical when you want to establish a good system which is distributed. So let us understand these three properties one by one, what they mean. So if you are dealing with any application that is hosted in suppose three servers or three nodes, so you can say that your system is consistent when the user can connect to any node and can get the same response from all these servers. So whether it is connecting to the first server, second, or third, response will not change. It remains consistent. So this property is called the property of consistency. Second property is availability. It means that in the same setup, if you are dealing or you are doing some processing with the application and suddenly one server goes down, then you can connect to other servers or other nodes and get the work done. So when even there is failure in the servers, you still the application can serve their users without any hindrance. Then we can say a system is highly available. Then third property is the partition tolerance. So whenever we have multiple nodes serving the users, so they also talk to each other so that they keep in sync. So suppose if server 1 is doing some write, it has to communicate to server 2 as well. Otherwise, both system become in non-sync, right? They are not sync up with each other. But what happens that suppose there's a communication link failure between two servers, like network failure happened, and two servers cannot talk to each other. At that time, the partition tolerance come into picture. At that time, system keeps working even if system failure or some network connectivity issue. But there is a trade-off, like you want like which property to prevail. Either you want to focus on the availability or you focus on the consistency. So for that, whenever we have any issue like this, that there is a network partition happening between the nodes, maybe because of the communication link failure or any network failure issue. So at that time, you have to choose any one property. Either you can choose the availability or you have to focus on the consistency. So if you go with the consistency, at that time, you have to let go the availability because if two nodes cannot talk to each other, so if some data is updated in one node, at that time, second node is unaware. So if there's a query going for the same data in the second node, so it might give the wrong results or wrong data back to the user. So at that time, if for us, if consistency is really important factor in whole application, then we have to make sure that our system become unavailable. Similarly, if you are focusing on the availability, then data might be become inconsistent because if two nodes cannot communicate to each other and still you are allowing any read and write happening between from those servers or nodes. So at that time, whatever changes which are happening in at one node or one server cannot be sent to other node. So that's why it have become inconsistent. So in nutshell, we can say that whenever we have a network partition, we have to choose either availability or consistency because these two factors we cannot get like both, right? Because of the nature of these properties. So let us understand now this with an example. Let's take example of a bank. Like suppose this is a small bank which has just two servers, and there's one user which want to transact like to buy some stuff on any website, right? So at that time, like you can see that both servers are able to talk to each other because the whatever network link is already established between those two servers, and then suppose the user has balance of rupees 100, and then they say, I mean, and both servers have the same balance, like both servers are in sync. So when a user want to spend rupees 20 from server one, so normally it will happen that it will detect the amount and then sync up both servers. Okay, both node will have the balance as a 80 rupees. But if there is a network partition happens and both server cannot talk to each other, so now if this goes on like this, then user might request 90 rupees from the second node, maybe because its request might reach to server 2, which is not aware that he already spent some amount of money already from the first node, because both are not in sync. So at that time, it is become really important that we have to make sure that our system is consistent. Because if we don't care about consistency, at that time user can spend more money than what he has in his account, right? So for this bank scenario, consistency is a more critical factor. So if any nodes are not able to talk to other nodes, at that time we have to restrict the functionalities of the bank system so that customer cannot transact beyond his means, right? So next example we can take like any like Facebook, Twitter, or like any social media accounts, right? So similarly, like suppose we have a small setup of social media application, and we have just two servers, and we have two users who are chatting with each other, right? So they're able to talk to each other via some application provided by this platform. Then suddenly the communication is broken between these two servers. So at that time, whatever the comment, right, which were being passed along, whatever the comment they're making to each other, they might not be available. Okay, but now in this scenario, availability is more important than the consistency, because it's not that critical like a bank scenario. So maybe system is not consistent, some comments or some chat comments a user cannot see, but still he or she is able to see the history or whatever the last communication happened. So I mean, you have to decide like in which situation which property is more important, and we have to focus on that property so that our system is reliable and able to talk to or work properly in all scenarios. So, to conclude, we can say that CAP theorem is really a starting point, which help us understand the trade-off between consistency and availability whenever there is a partition tolerance happening in our application or system, right? Because we have to understand, okay, which property is more important for us, and then we have to decide or design our system in that manner. But in real life, right, there's no like 100% availability or 100% consistency. We have to focus on degrees of these two properties. Maybe you are focusing on 80% availability and 20% consistency. So the CAP theorem is only a starting point, and it gives you an idea as a architect or system designer to understand, okay, what trade-off I need, but you have to apply this theorem properly in your scenarios and your applications. Okay, so also like when system is working properly, so there are also some trade-off happening between three properties that I will be covering later with the Packlek theorem. So yeah, please stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Please like, comment, or leave your questions also. So I will respond to your queries or questions for sure. And please subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you for your support. Thanks a lot.